This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.
Amber D,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
I like the
It's
angle.
nice to see you again. You look exactly the same.
I don't think I do. That's.
You
I think you're being
do.
kind there.
You do. I think we've aged well.
I think we've aged well. Yeah, I think you've maybe
Yeah.
aged a little better than me, but yeah, I don't think I look the same. I'm like a
Yeah,
guess.
but
I'm like
you don't get to wear well, you could. You can absolutely wear false eyelashes and makeup if you wanted to, but
this
I
is a
do
fake
have a
beard.
beauty regime though.
Yeah, if you look at me throughout the years, I'm like a Guess Who board because I was like the skinny, bald-headed. I was the fat, bald-headed guy, then the skinny, bald-headed guy, then the guy with the hair, then the glasses, now the beard. I'm like the whole lot.
That is quite true, actually.
Yeah.
We'll have to get like a calendar, like Paul Glazby through the years.
Through the years. Maybe. Let's see. So obviously we've known each other a long time. We've not spoken to each other in a long time. Like everybody
Yeah.
that's coming on, pretty much, other than a handful of people, I've not, because I kind of stepped back a lot. But I'm back now.
I'm so pleased to hear that, Paul.
Matt
I'm
laughs
so
when
pleased to hear that.
Thanks, darling. But what were your like early influences, like when did you sort of come on the scene? Was it like 2003-ish, if I got that right or not?
Yeah, I think it was probably 2002.
Right.
And yeah, so like I mean, I teach DJing and stuff now, and I do a lot in mental health and stuff. So this story of kind of like how I got into it is, although it's a kind of a sad story, it's got a very, very happy ending.
Okay.
So I lost my mum when I was 17, and we lived in a pub. We lived in this pub in Bromsgrove in Worcestershire. And that's where I'd been brought up. And my mum was ill with, she had throat cancer. She wasn't ill for very long, thankfully. And then just before that, my uncle passed away while he was visiting suddenly through an asthma attack. And then probably about 4 months after they both went, my granny, she died as well. She was quite old. She was living in a nursing home up the road. So with my mum, I think I was 17 at the time. I had to turn the machine off on her, which was I didn't know it at the time, but it really shaped a lot of things to come later on in my life. And then with my granny, I had to let her know that my mum had obviously passed away. And then I was there for her as she passed over as well.
Yeah.
And then I became homeless for a long period of time, probably about a year. And when I say that, I don't want people to feel sorry or like worried or anything like that. Although, past a family of mine have since come and spoke to me about it and said, "Oh, are you all right?" I think that one of the great things about loss of a parent when you're younger, although it's very harrowing, especially when you're a dependent child, you see it in a very different way. So I saw life as an adventure. So I felt like I was going on this adventure. So I went to a place called Stoke-on-Trent and I started a new life there. And the reason I chose Stoke-on-Trent was I had an old boyfriend from that area, and it was the only other place I knew. But I knew I couldn't be where I was. The pub had been sold. And then because I was so young, there was a lot of red tape in terms of capital gains tax, inheritance tax, all of this other stuff, which meant, and there was also a clause on this trust fund that I wasn't able to get the money until I was 25. However, a little bit later on down the road, we managed to get me sorted out with a house. But that was about a year or so later. But at the time, I wasn't really that bothered because I was on this adventure.
Mm.
So I went to Stoke-on-Trent, and I got involved in the hard house scene there. There was this weird music called hard house, and I met these people there, and I spent a lot of time at after parties. I spent a lot of time in essentially drug dens with a lot of people. And there was a lot going on at that time, and there was a lot of recreational drug use happening. But like I said, I was young. I was on an adventure, and as you know, retrospectively, when you have deep loss and you have nothing else to lose, you don't have any fear. So I didn't have any worry about failing or I didn't really feel that I needed to think too much about stuff. And this really came into play, or maybe it was the fact that I was kind of like just blocking it out at the time. But I'm so grateful that I found a group of friends who had decks at one of these after parties, and I said, "Oh, let's have a go." I think it was to a boyfriend of mine at the time. Actually, I think he had some decks, and I got on these decks, and I mixed one tune into the other, and it was almost as if time stood still. And I now know that this is something called flow state, and it was my first experience, like that it really mattered if this amazing thing called flow state, which would then be a big part of my life for a very, very long time, and is to this day. And in this flow state, there was no distorted fears of the future. In this flow state, there was no grief. There was no worry about the past. There was just this moment. So every single time I mixed one tune into another, I got the dopamine release from it. My brain saying, do it again, do it again, do it again, which I did. Everything made sense. Everything was being processed in the back of my mind in that moment. And it became extremely addictive to do that. So I did it over and over and over and over again, found different ways to mix stuff in, thought about them in terms of being a jigsaw piece, especially with like labels like BXR and, you know, with that kind of the techno stuff. I actually nearly emailed Mauro Picotto and said, I think I've worked out all the jigsaw pieces for every single BXR. Honestly, I thought I'd worked it because some of them have got like weird little 1-bar breaks in them, and I felt like I'd worked out this way of like mixing it from a certain point, because I would do that. You know what it was like mixing on vinyl, you know, you would find the perfect mix points, and I would be like obsessive over getting the very best crossover bass swap moment. But yeah, I felt like I'd cracked the code, and that, you know, now I'm a music producer myself. Obviously, I know that, especially back then, a lot of it would have been very much more natural, and there wasn't any like, they weren't thinking about it in terms of
plan.
No, there was no actual like plan.
I had a similar story to that, in that me and my mates, we got so wrecked once that a friend of mine, Nigel, who was, he came from this really rich family. So when we were learning to mix, he had all the tunes. Like, he'd drive down to Pure Groove and come back with all the latest tracks. But then obviously I got to play them, and we got wrecked one weekend. And basically he came up with the theory that if you bought 2 copies of every Tin Rib track and mixed the side, like the B side into the A side, and then the next release, the A side into that B side, and just kept it, that it told a story. And I told this to Captain Tim Rib once. He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I know where you're coming from.
Thank you. That makes me feel a bit more normal about it now. But yeah, it's That's the great thing about music, though. This is the expression of it. As someone that talks a lot about music production now and stuff as well on my own live streams and stuff. It's a really, really good thing if you can make a track and then someone else can have their whole own interpretation, and then spread that over a full record label. I think that's amazing. But yeah, that's how I got started into it. Very, very sad story, but I lived my entire life seeing everything as having a positive hidden intention to it. Everything, every single conceivable bad thing that's ever happened to me or any life lesson. At some point you look at yourself and you say, how have I contributed to this? I might not be, it might not have been my fault in inverted commas or whatever, but it's my responsibility to work with what I have here, and to find that positive hidden intention, because it feels so much better to do that instead of being in a victim mindset. I could have been like, oh, my mum's died and my knee hurts and everything's just going wrong for me. Like, fuck you, like, fuck the world. But no, you have to take back your own power with these things. And I do truly believe that it's energy. Everything's energy. So if I lost when I lost my parent at a young age, that grief, that sorrow, that energy can be utilized like alchemy. So it can be used in a way that I ascend that, that grief, and then I can do good in the world. So, and that's what I like to do these days.
Excellent. Well, it's nice listening to that by 2002, the hard house scene had moved on to bring women into the scene, because Lucy Fur said in 99, 2000, and Lisa Lasher said in 96 that the guys were like, you girls stay off the decks. So it's nice that
I've
things
just
have
been
moved on
watching
by
her
2002.
podcast, the Lucy Fur one. Yeah. So I got in at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of us drive cars now as well. Woo!
Yeah, and you can vote apparently as well. Mental. So obviously 2002, I mean, you would have been in my kind of awareness of like pretty quickly, because I mean, I think when you came on the scene, you weren't doing things by halves. And but when did you kind of feel like you'd made it, like when you, right, I'm a DJ now?
Probably when I was going to Radio 1 to do pilot shows for my own show. I remember I went.
You had a real high bar. Most people are like, oh, when I played at Frantic or something, you had to be at Radio 1.
Yeah, it was really crazy. There was a number of years where, because I think, again, everything's energy. I had a very, very massive loss, and I feel like because I alchemized that into my music, my DJing, I had a very, very big high from that big, low kind of thing. And it happened really, really quickly. I remember it was Johnny Dangerous got in touch with me, saying, Tidy, want to have a meeting with you. And it was because I was going to get signed to another agency before that, a big London one, a massive London one. And I told Johnny Dangerous about it, and he was like, don't sign anything. And my best friend at the time, who I still speak to now, Dom, who actually gave me my very first residency at Golden in Stoke-on-Trent, which is, again, it was wonderful that I moved to Stoke-on-Trent because I had my first residency at Golden, and then the rest was history. And I remember seeing the Tidy Boys play there, and then it was Ammo, and then my not soon to be at the time, but years later, was going to be my husband, Lee Haslam. They were playing a back-to-back, and as I was resident, I was playing just before them.
Right.
And so that's that bit. I've forgotten what you've asked me though now.
Well, I was asking you when you felt like you'd made it, and then you said,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean that in itself was awesome. But because they'd seen me DJ there, they and then they kind of rushed it in because I told Johnny about this other agency that wanted to sign me. They got me in for a meeting, and then I remember I was under 21 because I remember they were talking about things like touring and stuff. And they were like, "When are you 21?" And I said, "Oh, next July." And they were like, "Okay, that's fine." So I would have been 20. So obviously that in itself was a great that was a great moment. But I wasn't really thinking about it like that. I was just literally doing it because it made me feel better. I never, ever thought I would ever be a DJ. I never wanted this. I just found it really, really useful to stop going crazy. But yeah, so I think probably the first moment I thought I'd really made it and was tangibly, consciously aware of it would have been going to Radio 1 and doing a couple of pilot shows on 2 different occasions with a wonderful producer called Charlotte Coker, who I think did Kutsky's residency on Radio 1. But the problem was at that age, it was too much for me. I wasn't very confident at all. As soon as they would press record, Charlotte was like, just be yourself, and behind the scenes, I would be that person. I'd be jovial, I'd be cracking jokes and stuff. But as soon as I was having to do something serious, it kind of like I got very robotic, and it just wasn't the right time for me. But I definitely feel that it was really wonderful that I was actually even considered for that. So yeah, that was probably one of the main moments. And then again, things like doing front cover of Mixmag, having my own stylist, having someone doing my makeup, that was all like, wow. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I don't think I ever made it because I never had any of that shit.
I know. Just imagine if you did, you'd have been so big. Oh my God.
So you touched on the mental health, and I saw in your Instagram bio about the mental health ambassador. So what's that sort of?
So there's a few things that I do now in which are kind of intertwined with that. I became a mental health first aider during lockdown on behalf of Billy Bunter's mental health charity that he's run from losing his nephew, which was very, very sad. But again, he's very much like me. He uses a positive hidden intention, found something meaningful to commemorate his nephew's life by starting up this charity. And a few of us were asked to do a mental health first aiders course, which I did quite happily. I've always talked about mental health stuff. I think during lockdown, that ramped up quite a lot. I used to do my own mental health talks online. I'd share with people little things that have helped me with anxiety, especially as being a predominantly sober DJ now. It's a very, very different world, like going into an event being sober. It's one that I really enjoy though now. But there were coping mechanisms that, I can teach people to combat their fight and flight, those kinds of things. That was part of the mental health first aider stuff. Also, people do talk to me a lot about their issues. So I wanted a way that I could help people without it becoming too heavy on me. So, I mean, I can process most things, but I needed a way to be able to distance myself from the the person in a way that would be more helpful for them and beneficial for myself as well. So learning about how to signpost people, knowing when my job's done as someone who, you know, people can confide in and speak to, and then send them off to somewhere else that can carry that on. And then also I do a lot of charity work with Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. Which is an amazing charity. I've worked with them for years now.
And a fantastic play on words. I love
know,
that.
isn't it? Isn't it just? So yeah, with Last Night, I could talk about them for hours. We've done so much stuff. Like, so I'll start at the beginning. I've done a few, like, because I live stream pretty much. Well, a little bit less these days because I'm concentrating on my starting my master's in music production. So I'm in the studio a bit more now. But I usually would stream between 3 and 5 days a week and like DJing. And I started to do really, really long streams. And I started on 12 hours, then 24, then 48, then 72. And then I eventually got the world record for the longest Twitch DJ solo live stream, which was 90 hours, which was 4 freaking days.
What?
4 days mixing nonstop. Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought my 10-hour storm was long enough.
Well, remember, if we circle back to, remember I told you about that feeling that I get, that flow state of mixing one tune into the other over and over again. I have managed to get it to a point now. Oh, look at that dog! Oh my god!
She's had a haircut, so she's not looking at.
Oh, you look gorgeous, darling. Stuff. Don't worry. She looks lovely.
She needs your stylist, I think.
Oh,
this is Molly.
Oh, hello, Molly. Molly.
She can't hear you. She shouldn't have their phone.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. Tell her I said hello.
Amber says hi. Yes.
So I've kind of cultivated over the years this ability to mix for long periods of time. So I eventually managed to do a 90-hour live stream. Nothing illegal was taken during that, but a lot of meditation. There was a lot of stretching. I had an oxygen tank. I ate extremely well for a number of weeks beforehand. I don't eat anything really processed. It's been my birthday month this month, so I've been eating cake and stuff. But having a good diet was really a big part of being able to do that. And also the main reason why I was able to do that was the fact that it was for this charity. Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. We raised in those 90 hours £8,000. Wow. And that money, I get so emotional when I think about this, but that money went to help. It funded a well that was built in Uganda so that the young girls in that village are now able to go to school because they don't have to spend their day walking miles a day to go and fetch water for their village. So that was an amazing thing, and that was actually only £2,000 of the money was used on that on its own. And this whole village now, I have pictures of it. And we've built this well through Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, and it's to think that me mixing one record into another, and doing that for years and years and years could end up helping people in that kind of way. Hundreds of people in this village in that way is crazy. Yeah. And there's the thing with that money was it went to businesses for women who were in abusive domestic violence situations, and they could actually set up their own business for as little as like £200. Like £200 for them will set them up with everything they need to go and start selling fruits on the side of the road, which you see a lot of in Africa. I've spent quite a bit of time out there, which is another thing that I did out there. Was I went over to Sierra Leone, and I was teaching street youth and ex-child soldiers DJing out there with a whole group of amazing artists from New York, like actual artists, like graffiti artists, other DJs, and my mentor and someone who I grew up on his music, Steve Mack, who is better known as the Rhythm Masters from the house scene. I have so many of his records, and me and him are extremely close now. We spend a lot of time with each other in Sierra Leone. I still keep in contact with my students on a daily basis, make sure they're okay. We've sent out more equipment to them. If anyone does have any musical equipment, by the way, please get in touch with me, and we will be able to arrange to get it sent out to them, because they really are in need. The youth over there are in desperate need of not just in Sierra Leone, but there's other projects as well in different parts of Africa, and even in India as well, where this stuff gets sent out there, and you'll literally change someone's life, especially in places like Sierra Leone, where these children, well, they're grown-up children now, but they suffered a lot of trauma. I remember walking around in Freetown, and you can see, I didn't know what they were like to begin with, but one of the guys who lives in New York, George Senwan, who's an amazing artist, he knew what they were because he lives in New York. And I just saw all these holes in the wall, like in like a little diagonal, kind of like, and I was looking, you can see I was looking at it, and he says, yeah, someone's got sprayed up there. And I was like, what does that mean? Like someone's been shot like against the wall, and it's like just with an automatic, gun, and like it's not like that anymore over there, by the way. I want people to know this about Sierra Leone. It is a beautiful country. They are only 20 years out of a civil war though, but they are trying to get their tourism back in that country. I felt very safe there when I was there. I had no issues. I didn't get harassed or anything, but all of those kids over there, all of them, they have so little in terms of what we see in material things, but they're so happy and they're so talented. We've literally just released the album from our time over there, and I've done a remix on the album, and this album is out now. I'll make sure that I've got permission to give you some links for that and stuff, if you could put it in the details of the because we want to get as many eyes on it as possible, because there is a lot of gatekeeping, a lot of what's the word for it, glass roofs on music industry and stuff, and there is a lot of talent out there, and we want it to get it heard. So that's some of this stuff that I've been doing. The other thing I've been doing more close to home is I've been working with Getaway Girls, which is in Leeds, where it's for vulnerable young girls from the ages of about 8 till early 20s. So they're all kind of kids that have, had difficulties, should we say. And I went in and I taught them DJing and got them set up with Ableton, and just gave them an insight into what they can do with their time, especially when you come from trauma. If you come from trauma, I mean, it's for anyone, but when you come from trauma, if you can harness that energy into something creative, then you're gonna be much better off. So yeah, those are the things related to the mental health stuff that I've been doing, and continue to do so. But yeah, I feel like on a soul level, it's a very, very big part of my journey is to be of service to others. And I'm enjoying every moment of it. It's great.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, you are busy. Speaking of girls, you've got twin girls, don't you?
Yeah. Double trouble.
Double trouble, yeah.
Yeah, they're 14 now, Sasha and India. So proud of them.
That's nice. Do they get to see you play at all?
Yes, they do. So there's a gig that I do regularly called Rave Kids, which is in different places over the UK. So they've come to some of those events with me. They did get to be sneaked in to a festival that I played a couple of weekends ago in Wales, because we were visiting Grandad, and I had a gig up there as well. And I was allowed to let them sneak in. So they were at an actual proper grown-up festival.
Right.
And Sasha was a bit like, "Oh, I'm cold. I want to go home." And I'm like, "Oh, whatever." Like, and then all these other people were just like pandering to them. Go, "Oh, would you like a blanket? Are you a bit cold?" And there was like loads of sofas out and everything. And Guy said to them, like, "You wouldn't get this. You wouldn't get this service at Creamfields. I think yourself lucky." You know, it was a very grassroots festival. It was amazing. I had so much fun. And like, it just really, they're salt of the earth people, my kind of people. I was in my element there. We went a few hours early. Andy Farley was playing as well. And then India was like, "Mum, can we go back in the rave bit again?" So she's like, "Oh, I want to get to go back in the tent." So I'm like, "Yeah, come on then." And then we'll go back in the tent again. And I'm just like, oh. And then she's just like looking around like, oh, she's like, "Mum, is that bloke on drugs?" I'm like, yeah, probably. It's fine. But yeah, she loved it. She wanted to keep going back in there. So I think with her, I think that she'll definitely get the bug for raving. And you know, all of that, all of the stuff that comes with it. But you know, she's got a mum who has lived that life, talked the talk, walked the walk. So she'll be in good hands. She'll always be looked after. I think as well that she wants to get back into learning DJing again. I taught them both when they were really young. I remember once, because I still play all my vinyl on my live streams. I remember once they were so tiny, they're probably about 6. And I'm in my studio and I'm like, "Oh, you need to listen to the whole Cacti back catalogue, girls, because it's fucking amazing." So I was getting them all out. And I'm putting like OD404 tune on after OD404 tune. And they're like, "Mummy, I don't like it. It hasn't got any words." And I'm like, "Okay, I will forgive you because you've still got very small, underdeveloped ears, but this music's amazing." But yeah, I do think that India will get back into DJing again at some point. But yeah, it's been really nice to share that side of my life with my girls. And it's becoming more and more normalized now. Back in our day, rave was all about drink and drugs, partying, and it's not like that anymore. We now have actual courses in DJing. You know, you can learn it as an actual instrument at GCSE level, which is amazing. I really wish that they had something like that for us, but we didn't really have a pathway for it when we were younger, in the educational side of it. It was literally just a case of, you know, you fell into it because you were into rave music and also music production itself as well. It's so accessible now. We've got YouTube, we've got so many tutorials. The AI side of it is fantastic. I don't personally agree with using AI for actual music production in terms of it doing a lot of the necessary things for you, but I do like the fact that they are integrated, like with FL Studio, for example. Like very recently they've just come out with a new update. They have like an AI helper called Gopher, so you can literally just ask it anything and it will tell you. So like if you want to route up if you want to know how to use Patcher and like do some kind of like weird intricate channeling of, you know, different have like parallel compression going into a mid-side EQ, you can do it all within Patcher. But then Patcher, it also uses Python script now. I don't know anything about Python script. I don't use it myself. But the fact is that now the AI can do all of these things. It will give you examples of how to sidechain your kick and bass or whatever, or if you're stuck on something. Like the other day I couldn't find something really simple, and I've used FL Studio for years and years. I just asked this Gopher AI, and it was like, oh yeah, it's in this sub menu here, blah blah blah. But yeah, I've gone a
I
bit
have a
off.
Maddox for that.
Yeah, you do. He's brilliant though. But this is it. We talk about a lot to do with producers and using engineers on my demo drop show, because without engineers, I think the problem is the quality goes down a lot. It really, really does. And also, if you want to have a certain sound, your engineer will be able to provide that for you. But
Well, it's been amazing for me. Like I went back in with Maddox it's nearly a year ago now. It was September when I was back in the UK last year. And that track comes out this Friday.
yeah. Oh,
So it's one
wow.
but I did it with my daughter. So she inspired the track
Yeah.
and she came in and did the vocal for it. And so we did
Was it
that.
the Big Fish, Little Fish cardboard
That's
box
it.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
But me and Maddox had not sat in the studio together for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And we got in there and it was just like we'd been there the week before. And since then we've done another 3 or 4. We did a new one last night actually. So literally 2 minutes before we started talking, we were sending voice notes back to each other on
Awesome.
WhatsApp, just with the little changes that, because he sent it to me. I've listened to it about 10 times today, sent him some notes. He's making the little changes to it. But yeah, like sitting down with Maddox after all them years, because we've done so much stuff over the years that you kind of pick up where you left off.
Yeah. I'm really happy to hear that you're doing more stuff again. I
Thanks,
really am. Yeah, because I've got so many of your vinyls here. Vinyl. Why did I say the plural? Don't do that. I've got so many of your vinyl. I always pick up on that when people do it to me. So I would love some more Paul Glazby releases, please. Thank you.
Okay, well, they're coming your way. We should actually, with your streams, when I'm back later this year, we should try and do a like a back-to-back stream.
Oh, I would be so honoured.
Yeah, let's do that.
Please, yeah. When are you coming back?
I get back at the end of October.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get it booked in
for
then.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Nice. Yes.
So one thing I wanted to touch on, and hopefully I'm not overstepping here, but obviously you and Lee didn't last, and sounds like you're very happy now with Guy, which was news to me. I didn't even know you. I'd heard you reference Guy, but I didn't know it was Guyver. I just thought it was some dude called Guy. But obviously, when I broke up, when me and Kate, Kate was fairly well known in the scene with her, running bread management. Matt's just eating a bag of chips or something. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, when you have a breakup and you're kind of in it's not like we're Brad and Angelina, but still you're kind of in the public eye. Like it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it's everyone. Me and Guy have talked about this many times, about when you're in the public eye in that way, you can't just quietly process it. Everyone's got their 2 cents worth. People talk about it. I felt very I did feel very much like that was happening when me and Lee split up. And it's crazy really, because it's more of an ego thing, right? So something that I learned was, which really helped me after my split with Lee, after we got divorced. I had a terrible relationship, 2 terrible relationships after that, really bad ones. And what happens is, when you've had a succession of failed relationships, you can't help but look at yourself and say, well, what am I doing here to cause this? I'm the common denominator here. I'm obviously putting something out there. So I went away and did a lot of introspective, work on myself in that way, to kind of like work out why that was happening. But in that time, you do kind of assume that everyone is talking about you, like, because you're you. And so I heard this really, really helpful piece of advice on one of my many self-help YouTube TED Talk things that I would listen to all the time and get so much great information from. There was this one time, and it just hit at the right moment. And there's this bloke talking to the TV, and he's like, and it was to do with this victim mindset thing of, you know, thinking everyone's talking about you. And he said, who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are? That you're that important that everyone else in the world is thinking about you and your breakup right now. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm thinking about me. I'm thinking about me. And you're thinking about you because you're you. You are the center of your own universe.
Yeah.
And everyone else is the center of their own. And the way that it was said in that moment, it really, really helped. It helped me to snap out of this anxiety. The main thing for me was anxiety to be around people because I thought everyone hated me. I thought I was a terrible person. I thought I was a terrible mother. I thought I was a terrible human being. And I really felt that way. And it was all because of having postnatal depression and very, very much delayed grief from losing my mum, because all that time I had not even grieved the loss of my mum because I was just a very, very well-known DJ. And you don't need to do those kinds of things when you're too busy. And then all of a sudden, after having the children, I had terrible postnatal depression. And I don't think Lee knew how to cope with it. And we split up. He divorced me, and I didn't question it. It just felt like, yeah, you're right, this needs to happen. And the kids were only like 4 months old. But we made it work. We did shared custody up until this point now, and now they live with me full time. But the dad's still in their lives. But yeah, when it all kind of like is in the public eye, it feels very much like you can't just, and we sometimes we don't help ourselves either. You know, I'm very vocal on my Facebook. I talk a lot. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I find that it's very therapeutic and cathartic for me personally. But I am very aware of, you know, making sure that I am not spewing out hateful rhetoric, you know, to do with ex-boyfriends and stuff. Sometimes I'll have a laugh about certain crappy boyfriends that I've had when something funny pops up, but they're from like 10 years ago. They're one of the two crappy ones. And I'll kind of like, oh God, you never, because everyone knows what they're like, these people. You know, it's really important that you heal from these things. And I think it's really helpful to do that in private. And I definitely did that for a number of years after my split with Lee. And that's when I got into my spiritual side. That's where I got into the mental health side. That's when I became very introspective. And then when I met Guy, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because it's like the reason why I'm with guys, I literally have no life outside of music. I don't meet any other people. So people are like, oh, you've been out with Lee Alston, now you're going out with Guyver. Like, but every single one of my boyfriends has been a DJ or a music producer. Every single one of them. Like, I don't have a life outside of it. It's not something that I planned, but and they've always been long-term relationships. It's not like shagging my way through the Hard House top 10, but it's but
that's why I'm back. Jokes, guys, jokes.
Just jokes. But yeah, it's very hard. And when people kind of like get in there as well, and you know, they want to put their 2 pence in. But also I find it really relieving and it opens up your eyes to people in general, you know, because the ones that you know considered friends, and then they maybe picked sides, you know, that kind of thing. You kind of just go, okay, I understand, you know, and quietly kind of acknowledge it. But yeah, it can be difficult, but I do really think it could be helpful for anyone else listening if you're worried about people thinking about what you're doing and you're split up. That they're literally not. Like you'll probably be 5 minutes of conversation at an after party. That'll be it. And then they'll be talking about the next thing. And that's all it boils down to. And people, all of us do this, right? None of us are above it, but we don't realize we're doing it. And we certainly wouldn't do it in front of someone, you know, not if you're a happy, rounded individual. But we all gossip, we all talk, you know. It could be someone on the TV that we don't know, it could be, you know, people say flippant things, and also people will agree if someone's talking about you at an after party. You'll find things out, and so was there, and you're like, I'm not talking to them anymore. Just remember, people will just kind of sit there and nod, be like, yeah. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily agreeing with what's being said or anything like that. It's just people. I do that. If someone's like slagging someone else off to me, I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, okay, all right, okay. Thinking, yeah, if you're doing that here, then you're probably doing that to someone else about me somewhere down the line. I don't involve myself in that kind of thing. I just find it very energetically off to kind of be like that. But yeah, do you still speak to Kate then?
Oh, I mean, we might send each other a you know, WhatsApp message once a year or something. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
lovely. No, that's
but
good.
I mean, it's nice. I mean, you know, she's with someone now, and they've got 2 kids, I think, and I mean, it's all like, you know, it's nice. It's how it was meant to be. But I'll tell you what, the weirdest thing, or not weird, but so I'd get to a gig, Kate would be with me. I'd, you know, because, you know, like, I made a career. I'd walk in, play, and then leave. You know, like I didn't sort of hang around. So we get to the gig, and there'd always be a bunch of girls that were like, in my mind, they were just Kate's friends. You know, like Kate changed the Facebook thing to sing, or whatever you do on Facebook. You know, where people know that you're not in a relationship. Within 24 hours, those girls were sending me nudes.
So girls are just as bad as boys.
She's finding this out right now.
Fuck. Do you know what you should have done? You should just put them into I have on Facebook, I have a whole group dedicated to this. It's called the Amber D Inbox of Doom. Oh. Where all of the dick pics, well, not the dick pics, because I'm not allowed to put those on Facebook, but all the weird messages, creepy messages I get sent, they go straight in there. And also anyone in the group is welcome to upload your own creepy messages as well. There's thousands of people in there now in that group, thousands of members. But I get sent a lot of really weird stuff. Okay. So
I'll have a look, see if we get some inspiration. So you're doing your DJ school. Like people, is it like a one-on-one thing that you help people with? Is that?
I do a couple of things. So I do one-on-one, which is they can come to my studio for either 3 hours or 6 hours. I prefer doing it in person, especially if someone's quite new to DJing, but I also do it online. I have a few people in America that I teach, all over the place. But that's like the one-to-one sessions, though, they are quite expensive. Because obviously taking up my time and my experience and coming to my actual house. So I wanted to do something that was accessible to everyone, as well as doing my charity work and doing stuff for Last Night DJ Saved My Life and teaching DJing on those projects. I also have a DJ group on Facebook called How to DJ Tutorials with Amber D. And that is £40 for like lifetime membership. It's not like a subscription, but just 40 quid. And then you can join that and you're in it for life. It's just the cost of it keeps trolls out. Obviously, it helps my income as well, because I'm completely self-employed and I'm the breadwinner for the house as well. So Guy makes me sandwiches, which is great. And he gets the kids up in the morning. I'd be lost without him. I would be lost without that man. I make jokes about sandwiches, but no, seriously, I worship him. He's amazing. He allows me to be able to do what I do. But yeah, so that group, the DJ group, there's over 35 tutorials in there, which I've done over the years. It's PDF files and video tutorials. Also, you can get mix feedback in there as well. So you know what it's like when you're starting out. The problem is as well, a lot of the time, if you ever put a mix on, upload a SoundCloud mix to your profile or whatever, people just tend to write, yeah, sick mix, bro. You know, they don't really give anything in terms of real critical analysis. So the group's there for that as well. So I'll sit through it and listen through to their mixes. The whole group does. So I'll just like at everyone, and the whole community comes together and they'll listen through to each and everyone's mix, which is brilliant. We've now started doing gigs. So some of the community, some of my members are putting on their own events, which we did. The last one we did was in Leicester, which was really good because it's the first time for a lot of my students to get behind the decks and actually perform in a real environment on a real setup, which is so important for their experience. And then we also do group projects in there. One of my students, actually, Adam Burden, DJ Wheels, who's amazing. He's got cerebral palsy, and he DJs with one hand, and he's like a massive like inspiration to me. He's so funny. He used to have a website called www.howiroll.net. He's fucking hilarious. And he's written a book. He also he helps people in the Paralympic teams as well. He's such an inspiration to me, and I love him so much. But he inspired one of the group projects to where I set everyone the task of doing a mix with one hand, or doing like 3 mixes with one hand, and see how difficult it is, you know, just to kind of see what, you know, and also by doing that, you kind of like have a respect for what Adam's doing, but also at the same time, you're honing in your own skills. So it's something I do a lot of just when I'm on my own. I'll mix with just my left hand, because I learned about how, you know, brushing your teeth with your left hand makes your the other side of your brain kind of fire up, and you know, that kind of thing, and just to strengthen and strengthen your abilities, your motor skills. It's really good for you to get out of your comfort zone and do those kind of things. So those are the kinds of things that are in the group. And then also we run group projects where you can win a guest mix on my radio show. So I do a radio show on FM radio every Friday on LDC radio, where you can come into the actual radio station with me and do a mix there. And then also we have a student showcase where people come to my studio and we do a live stream, and we get people following you, we get people listening to your mixes. And that's a very similar concept to my other thing that I do on a Tuesday, which will be later on today, which is the demo drop. So the demo drop is something that I've done for about 6 years now as well, where it's a similar format. We just sit and listen to your music, and then I'll give some either like subjective or objective feedback on, like, if there's something sticking out that's wrong, maybe the mix down needs sorting out or whatever it is. And then because it's live, everyone in the chat as well will give their kind of their thoughts on it. But I'm very, very strict with, there's never any shit talking in there. No one's like, no one in my community is like that anyway. Like it gets, if it ever happens, it's gone within 2 seconds anyway. So yeah, those are the things that I am doing at the moment. And then so I do the one-to-one teaching. I've also just finished 2 years ago, I finished my BA honours at uni in music production. That was a full-time course which I was doing on top of everything else.
Jesus.
And I'm back doing my masters in September, October. So I'll be doing my masters in music production, and then after that once I've worked out what the discipline's going to be and my focus, I am aiming to be doing my PhD as well. So, and then everyone has to call me Dr. D, which I'm really looking forward to.
Wow. Thought I was busy, but she takes the biscuit, this one. And you're launching your own podcast as well, is that right?
Yes, me and Guy are doing a podcast.
What's it called? Tunes and Sandwiches.
Yes, I love that. Oh my god, that's such a yes. That's actually reminds me of one of my favorite weird songs. Hang on. Do you remember this? I know it's the opposite way around. Detroit Grand Pubis Sandwiches. Do you not know it? Oh, you might not know it. It's a weird melodic techno tune. But I got it on vinyl the other day. So along with this one. This gets played a lot.
Oh,
God. Bang.
Excellent.
But yeah,
so
we're starting our own podcast as well.
Right.
But yeah, it was something because me and Guy, we have such amazing conversations every day. Like 12 years on, I live with my best friend. I'm so grateful. But we have such insightful conversations in the kitchen every single day, and I'm like, we need to do something with this. You know what it's like, like you've had some very, very interesting guests on, and it gets to a point where we're probably too lazy to write a fucking book, but we want to talk about stuff, don't we? Because we've got a lot of experience, we've done a lot of things, and just by being able to that's what it's about. It's about exchanging ideas, isn't it? I love
Excellent.
it. Yeah.
Well, we had a couple of questions.
Oh God.
So I think he's a friend of yours, General Bounce.
I know all about this fucking question. Yeah. I saw
this
it
question
already.
Is, what's your favorite type of toilet to do a selfie in?
Okay, can we get a bit of context for this first? I'm going to just give you a little bit of context to what this is about. So I do something called toilet selfies, right? Where it is literally what you would think it is. It's just me sat having a shit on the toilet before a gig usually. But there's a series, not a series, there's a sincere reason but behind it.
Okay.
So the reason why I started doing them was a lot of it is, again, with the mental health side of things. A big part of being a DJ is you get a lot of anxiety, you get a lot of performance anxiety. And I think that I've had something called anxiety induced IBS. Right. It's not so bad these days, but can be if I've had a coffee. But I'll need to go and have a shit. If I'm playing somewhere, I'll need a nervous poo. So I'm like, right, okay. And then I remember just talking about it and being on, being open and honest. I've been diagnosed with ADHD as well, which was no fucking surprise, which means I'm an oversharer.
I could have diagnosed that. Dr. Glazby at your service.
There you go. Unmedicated though, because I do feel like, for me personally, everything I need is within me, and I like it that way. I don't like the feeling. I've even given up vaping now. I used to smoke, I used to vape, I used to drink, I used to take drugs. I don't want anything. I don't want to need anything to make myself feel like I'm okay. So all of those things had to go. But in terms of the oversharing, that's kind of where it started. And so there was a conversation I had online with a girl who, she was saying it was the very first toilet selfie that I did, and she sent me a message. She said, thank you so much for doing that, because someone like you just telling everyone that it's okay to shit, it's all right, and she said, I've got a stoma bag. She said, I've had a stoma bag put in a few years ago, and it stopped her from going out, and it stopped her from, again, it gets me really emotional thinking about this, but it was a big thing for her. She was like, "You're making this, you're normalizing it, and it's making it it's really, really good that you're doing that. Thank you so much for kind of bringing awareness to it and ending stigma around needing a shit at a gig or a club or whatever." And I know it's funny because we do think it's funny, or it's like, ooh, but everybody shits, and that is the kind of the reason behind doing these toilet selfies is
Right.
not to put it's this subcontext of not putting anyone on a pedestal, because people do put people in the public eye on a pedestal. Is to remind us all everybody shits. It's to remind us all that we're all the same deep down, and also to bring awareness to conditions such as Crohn's disease, IBS, and just to make a bit of fun out of it, because it's not a fun place to be when you've got those kind of issues. And that's just my way of doing that. So to answer General Bouncer's question, I think my favorite place to do a poo or do a toilet selfie or a shit would be in a bush. There you go. Coming soon. I've got
Well,
a
I've got
festival
kind of the
this
opposite.
weekend, so.
Oh, there you go, wild one. Yeah, I've got kind of the opposite stories of that. So basically, I've never got nervous at a gig, but when I did my
Wow.
10-hour set, if you listen to it, when it gets to I think it's 8 hours and 34 minutes that I lasted before I had to run for a piss.
Well, you held in a piss for that long, Jesus.
8 hours and 34 minutes, and I put "Are You Already" on, and then quickly queued up the next track, legged it. I had to climb out of the because it was at the Emporium. I had to climb out the DJ box, run down to reception, then up those other stairs.
Oh shit!
And I got to the top, and I could hear the track, and I'm just peeing and peeing and peeing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking run out of tune. And then anyway, I managed to get back there and mix the next track in. But yeah, that was I didn't think that one through. I should have had some kind of device that.
So in my experience, the longest vinyl that I own is probably a Scott Project remix. They're around about 12 minutes long, but that "Are You Already" is quite a long tune.
Yeah, I
So
think it's like
33 RPM. Were you playing on
Yeah.
vinyl?
Vinyl, yeah.
You were playing on vinyl?
I did, yeah. I played all vinyl, and at the end of my set, I gave it all away.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then the System 6 boys in Brisbane said, "When are you coming to Australia?"
I really, really hope I come back soon. It's been on the cards for a while, and my agent's been like tickling the balls of some promoters. So hopefully, I don't know where that came from. I hope he's not doing that, but he might be. But yeah, he's been there's putting the feelers out. That's where that's come from. Tickling the balls, putting the feelers
Putting the feelers
out.
out. I don't think
There
they
you
mean the
go.
same
There
thing.
you go.
Yeah. You're Amber D. They should be tickling your balls.
There you go. I have massive balls, by the way, as well.
I know you do.
Hopefully soon, though. I would love to get back. I have a lot of oh fucking hell! I recently found out I have got family in Australia. Because I said about my mum dying young. My mum was adopted. My mum was adopted because back in the day, if you had a child out of wedlock, that child would go to the church. And my mum was that child that went to the church. 1954, she was born, and so the woman who gave birth to her biological mum, she then moved to Australia, and she lives in the Gold Coast.
That's all right. That's where we are right now.
No! Oh my God! Shut up! Oh my God! Really?
Don't tell me she lives in Eleanor, because that's where we are.
Dun, dun, dun.
Find out where she is. I'll go and knock on the door for her, see if she wants to sell her house.
Oh, that would be brilliant. But, so, okay, well, that's a great synchronicity there. But yeah, I saw all of that side of the family. They'd been searching for me for years, and I didn't know. And
it's
then
not like you've been hiding.
No, I know, but they didn't know anything. They didn't have any.
Ah.
All they had was like one record from the church of my mum's old name. And then, of course, I had to explain to them that mum had passed away and stuff. But it's so lovely that, I know that they exist now. But that's another reason for me to get to to Australia. They're really lovely. My cousin Olivia, who lives in the Gold Coast, she works for like Marvel Films. She just like works in the film industry, which is like amazing. But it's weird. We've had conversations. I've seen photos, and there's so many likenesses there with my mum, and yeah, it was really great. So there will be a point. If it's not DJing, it will be personally. I'll be getting over. Definitely. So yeah.
Well, if you're coming over to see your family, then the System 6 boys will definitely put you on, I'm sure.
Yay!
Yeah, there you go. You got a gig already.
Brilliant.
Well, darling, that seems like a good place to wrap it up. But I think you're a mile a minute, so let's do this again.
Yes, definitely. I'd love that. Thank you. And yeah, we'll get booked in and for when you're over here and do that back to back.
Stream. Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
Nice one.
Brilliant.
All right, darling. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank
I'll speak to you soon. Take care, darling. Bye.
This is When I Grow Up with Paul Glazby.